Nearly 2.5 years after the forced regime change which forced Sheikh Hasina to flee Bangladesh, and months of uncertainty over elections, finally the elections have taken place in Bangladesh and the results are out. The turnout was around 48% of the voters turned out, so it was not a very good turnout. But as analysts, we have to analyze what we have before us. And to discuss the Bangladesh elections, we have with us Ambassador Veena Sikri, Foreign High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. Welcome to Samvad, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Ma'am, the people of Bangladesh have spoken. Although with the Awami League banned from political activity, we can say that a certain segment of the electorate, of the citizens of Bangladesh, have been kept out, because the turnout of 48% shows that a number of people have not turned out to vote. In minority areas, people have not turned out to vote. But be that as it may be, we have to analyze the elections. So as of now, ma'am, I see 299 seats in Bangladesh, and BNP leading in 208 winning 208 as of now, out of 284 declared results. So massive sweep. How do you see this election results, ma'am?
Thank you for inviting me on your show once again. I think we have to go back to the very beginning, as it were. In this case, July, August 2024, when the regime change operation took place. So first and foremost, that was projected by, let's say, all the world, which is the Western powers, everybody, and Dr. Muhammad Yunus, projecting it as a spontaneous student uprising. And, as though it was a kind of a revolution, uprising, etc. But we know that it was none of that. It was not spontaneous. It was not a students' uprising. It was a meticulously designed regime change operation. And Muhammad Yunus himself accepted that, because speaking in September 2024 in New York, in the Clinton Global Initiative, he said, don't think it happened just like that. It was meticulously designed. And he introduced the mastermind, who is Mahfouz Alam, who is known to be a member of the Hizb ut-Tahrir, a banned Islamist organization. And at that time, he was special secretary to Muhammad Yunus, and later on he joined as advisor, became minister. So the planning of this operation in Bangladesh was done entirely by the Jamaat-e-Islami and these Islamist organizations. They were backed by Pakistan. That was the conduit. The conduit was Pakistan, where Pakistan was the conduit for Jamaat-e-Islami, etc. And Pakistan was backed in its turn by the Western powers, UK, USA, European Union, all of them. So they were doing a regime change operation, but in that process, they gave the power to the Jamaat-e-Islami in Bangladesh. For the last 18 months in Bangladesh, it is the Jamaat-e-Islami that has been exercising power. And Muhammad Yunus is the chief advisor of the interim regime. He is their spokesperson. He was doing whatever they wanted him to do. He's the spokesperson. And that is why you find that in the advisors group for the chief advisor, in his ministerial group, as it is called, there were a very large number of Islamist organizations. Islami Andolan Bangladesh was there, the Hifazat-e-Islam was there, and of course later on Hizb ut-Tahrir was there through Mahfouz Alam when he joined. So actually among the political parties who were there in the advisors regime, it is the Islamist organizations who were present in large numbers. So this was really, I'm trying to say, an Islamist what shall I say, victory. And I think the support of the Western powers, particularly America, for the Islamist group is also to be noted, because very recently, a few days before the election, or maybe a few weeks before the election, there was a transcript, a tape released of an American diplomat in Dhaka talking to a group of Bangladeshi women journalists. And this transcript later appeared in the Washington Post. Now, there was only one message that had to say, basically, which is that America was supporting the Jamaat-e-Islami. So that was a very big message to give to a pre-poll nation that, America is supporting. That was meant to be a big boost for the Jamaat-e-Islami, to tell them, tell the people who to vote for, to tell Gen Z, the young generation, who to vote for. So Also, in addition, I told you about the beginning, I told you about the end. In between, in the 18 months that went there, we saw that the Jamaat-e-Islami, through mobocracy, re-engineered the entire nation of Bangladesh. They changed all the judges. They put their own people as Supreme Court judges. They changed the bureaucracy. All the secretaries they wanted, they changed. They put their own people. They changed the academia, like professors, vice chancellors, people whom they wanted. Other people were removed by mobocracy, which means that a mob would come, surround the individual concerned, whether it's a vice chancellor or a professor or another, a judge. And till that person resigned, that mob would be there. When the person resigned, the Jamaat-e-Islami would appoint their person. So everywhere in the country, this pattern was followed. Then the media was completely muzzled. All the boardrooms were changed, again through mobocracy. Many journalists were thrown in jail, hundreds of them, so that, the Jamaat-e-Islami again had its way with the media as well. They had, all the media people were very much under their control. They were not even, you won't believe it, some of the media, even last night as I was checking results, many of the media in Bangladesh were scared to declare results. They were waiting for the final word. And, big newspapers whom I always read, English language, they kept on saying till 2 in the morning, oh, election fever grips Dhaka, election. Are the elections are over, counting is going on. But they were too scared to report it. So the media was mad. So what I'm trying to say is that the entire environment in Bangladesh was controlled by Jamaat-e-Islami, and as a result, the expectation was that they would win big in the elections. Then the Jamaat-e-Islami is a cadre-based organization. The only other cadre-based organization in Bangladesh is the Awami League. And sensing a threat from them, the Jamaat-e-Islami had the Awami League banned. The activities of Awami League were banned. They were not allowed to take part in the elections. And I think it's a tremendous hypocrisy for the Western powers who talk about democracy, that they, in fact, used to criticize Sheikh Hasina if BNP didn't take part. Sheikh Hasina never banned the BNP, but they didn't take part in the election. And the Western countries would criticize Sheikh Hasina and say this is not free and fair election. But this time, when Awami League was banned by the Jamaat-e-Islami and Muhammad Yunus, they didn't say anything. They're still calling it an inclusive election. They kept quiet.
Despite this unlevel playing field, ma'am, this inorganic, I would say it's not organic, this inorganic created playing field, Awami League removed, the Western power supporting Jamaat openly, and the media, as you said, supporting Jamaat or scared of Jamaat, whatever the case may be. The Jamaat has performed, it is underwhelming, the results, I would say. So what went wrong for them?
No, so exactly. So I am saying, that's exactly, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. That what I'm saying is that there was such a strong Islamist atmosphere built up. In addition to this, today morning, I was on one of the channels, and there was a report that a social media attack in Bangladesh, and to some extent into India as well, by the AQIS, Al-Qaeda in the Indian subcontinent. They have used social media and launched thousands of social media accounts or channels or whatever you call them, again promoting a very sophisticated form of radicalization. They don't now call for violence and stuff, but very sophisticated, telling people to join, giving them the advantages, making people respond and become part of the group. And that was also at work in Bangladesh. So we're seeing here such a huge attack, shall I say, effort, attack by the AQIS, effort by the Jamaat-e-Islami of Bangladesh to win the elections. And really speaking, that is what was expected, that the Jamaat-e-Islami would win big and they would be able to form a government on their own. So that is why I see the biggest success of this election result, where BNP has now got 2/3 majority. And Jamaat-e-Islami has got more than before. They've got much more. Maybe they've doubled their vote share. But then without Awami League being there, Jamaat-e-Islami doubling vote share is not a very big thing. They have got maybe, more than 20% of the seats in parliament. But with 2/3 majority for BNP, they can do nothing with that 20%. So it is the people of Bangladesh who have completely rejected Islamism. The people of Bangladesh are religious, but they do not want Islamism. They do not want a radical Islam to take hold. They do not want Sharia law. They do not want an Islamic republic. And I think this is the strongest message from the people of Bangladesh. If you combine this by saying that, let us say the women, I didn't mention that, but the women of Bangladesh, the largest minority, perhaps even a little more than 50%, they have had a terrible time for the last 18 months. Their condition has been very poor. They have faced violence. The safety of women is totally compromised. People are advised not to visit Bangladesh because of safety of women. And then the moral police, Islamic dress code, moral police around on the streets telling people, women what they should wear, what they shouldn't wear. The women of Bangladesh love wearing the bindi, teep, they call it teep in Bangla. And that also was objected to by the moral police. So the women have had a terrible time. And for the elections, you will not believe it, less than 4% of the candidates were women. Less than 4%, 3.93% of all the candidates were women. Jamaat-e-Islami did not have a single woman candidate. Even BNP had a very low number of women candidates. Some of the smaller parties had more, but basically, even then, many of the women who are selected, who were there, they're all dynastic. They come from one family or the other, and they're there for dynastic reasons, not for them. So the women also, then combined with this exclusion of women, a few days before the election, the Amir of Jamaat-e-Islami made some very derogatory remarks against women.
Okay.
First of all, saying that a woman can never be head of the Jamaat-e-Islami and that women have to only stay at home. And if they go out, if they work, I cannot even repeat that. Such derogatory words were used. And of course, the women were up in arms. And the women protested even on the university when this remark came out. Then there were earlier protests when Muhammad Yunus tried to, he had earlier decided to have singing and music teachers on every school, college, and university campus, and also have PT, physical training teachers. But then Jamaat-e-Islami put pressure on him, and he reversed his decision and said, I will have religious teachers and not all this. Again, the university students erupted. And their point was, and this is my main point, the university students said, the women, the young people of Bangladesh said, for us, culture and religion are two sides of the same coin. So culture is important and religion is important. They are two sides of the same coin. You cannot give one without the other. You want full culture and you want full. This is the important point. I think this message is the strongest message of this election. That the people of Bangladesh have rejected Islamism. They don't want Islamism. They're unhappy that the Awami League is not there. But in the absence of Awami League, they've given the vote to the BNP and shown that with this two-thirds majority, we want a re-functioning of our democratic republic. And it is really expected that the Awami League, I'm sure the new Prime Minister, Tarique Rahman, will lift the ban on the Awami League. And Awami League can join normal politics, that people can come back, they can participate in political activities, they can revive their party, reorganize, restructure, whatever they want to do. So I think this is a very important message to the world and to everybody who's interested in Bangladesh, to South Asia, that Islamism does not work. The people of Bangladesh are not Islamist. There is a huge pressure of radicalization on them, but they are resisting that pressure. And I think that for us, you've seen our Prime Minister Modi's message to Tarique Rahman on his victory. A very strong, very good message calling for democratic, progressive, and inclusive Bangladesh. And hoping for a strong revival and growth of Bangladesh-India relations. And I think that's very, very important. It's a very significant message that we want all the democratic processes to be revived. It's a real tribute also to Tarique Rahman, definitely. I think he must be congratulated. I'd like to congratulate him strongly on his victory of two-thirds, the way he came back after 17 years, but he kept in touch with the organization, and now he has been able to win a two-thirds majority. But he said that his approach will be Bangladesh first. So we have to wait and see what will be the progress of Bangladesh. But I think this victory of this election result is a big congratulations to Tarique Rahman, big congratulations to the BNP, a big rebuttal to the Islamist, Jamaat-e-Islami, although many will tell you, oh, but they've got 74 seats. Earlier they had much less. But still, the effort, the assumption that was there, that they're going to win big, single party, they'll form a government with their alliance partners, that has not happened. And so it's a big tribute to the people of Bangladesh.
But do you see this transition of governance taking place peacefully, ma'am? I'm asking this because I'll be staying on Jamaat for a while, because they have grown, they have had the time to increase their ideological infrastructure, their social networks have grown in the interim period. They have rejected the election results. I mean, rejected as in they are not accepting it totally, that they're rigging and that sort of allegations which always happen. That is there. Muhammad Yunus, perhaps I find him to be very iffy sort of a person. He might not be willing to hand over power so easily, despite the people say. So you see this peaceful transition happening, or do you expect the Jamaat and its cadre to do some sort of violence to at least delay the handover of power?
I think that's a very good question because actually, together with the elections yesterday, there was also the referendum. The referendum took place yesterday at the same time as the elections. And this was a referendum on the July National Charter of 2025. You know that when Muhammad Yunus came to power, when he was made the chief advisor in August 2024, the first thing they started doing, Jamaat-e-Islami and Muhammad Yunus, that we want reforms. And they said we need 4 years for reforms and we'll have elections after the reforms. So they said we want, and they immediately started to have a constitutional reforms commission, reform of the constitution, reform of the election commission, reform of the bureaucracy, reform of the police, all kinds of reforms. But the people pushed back, the political parties pushed back and said, no, we want early elections. So whatever it is, they got this July National Charter agreed by last July, and they wanted a referendum. Now, referendum, again, another unconstitutional illegal act, because even when Muhammad Yunus was sworn in, he was sworn in on a constitution that had no provision for an interim regime. So he was an illegitimate government. Similarly, referendum, they decided to hold it, but there's no provision in the constitution for a referendum. Again, unconstitutional, illegitimate act. But such as it was, they were determined to get that done. And so they created a set of 84 questions divided in 4 groups. And then they said, you have to answer all these questions with one yes or no. I mean, can you believe it that somebody has to look at 84 questions in 4 different subsectors and then decide, does he say yes to all or no to all? So, it's a very interesting effort. They want a radical change in the constitution. They want the weight, the value of the liberation war of 1971 to be totally downgraded. They want, the president to have more powers. The president has to have more powers vis-a-vis the parliament. Even things like they want a 2-cameral legislature. They want an upper house with proportional, and all kinds of things, basically pinning down the people and setting the tone for a completely changed constitution and a completely changed regime. The expectation yesterday was that the referendum will get a yes vote. Why? Because for the referendum, the ballot papers had no reference, had no serial numbers.
Okay.
Every ballot paper has a serial number, so that's how you keep track. And when you issue an election slip, you issue the referendum. But there was no serial number for the ballot papers. That means the government had unlimited possibility of printing as much as they want and stamping as many as they want, and nobody would know because there's no serial number. So the idea being expected was that whenever this new group would get elected, they would be turned into a constituent assembly. And that Yunus would stay on and become the president. That was what was being planned. And at that time, they were thinking that both, all the poll surveys were showing actually neck to neck between between BNP alliance and Jamaat alliance. And so they were saying, they'll form a national unity government, have both BNP and Jamaat, and president will be Yunus. Maybe prime minister could be Tarique Rahman, but deputy prime minister would be Amir of Jamaat-e-Islami. So this was all the plans beforehand. And there was only one, I wrote an article about it for the NDTV, and there was only one poll survey which said that BNP could get 200 plus seats if the majority of Awami leaguers voted for BNP and the majority of the women voted for BNP. So obviously something has happened. I don't think many Awami leaguers went to the vote, but some definitely would have gone because they were under pressure from the Jamaatis and so on, saying you have to vote, others we will get your family or something like that. I think the minorities also did not all go to vote. A few went, maybe they also voted for BNP. So whatever it is, the vote against the Jamaat was very apparent. And even in the referendum, although they now say that the voting in the referendum is very, very small, very meager. Although, like you said, the government has declared 48% voting overall, but they have not been able to cross 50%. And actually, the voting was much less than 48%. It may not have been more than, I don't know, 25%, 30%. In fact, the voting of the numbers that have been shown for the yes vote and the no vote is just 1.5 crores, which is nothing. in a country of 170 plus million, 17 crores. So this is very small. It indicates how that the voting percentage was so low. But whatever it is, the election result is out. I think the referendum should now be out of the window. I don't think there's any legality for this referendum at all. The parliament can discuss whatever they want. With the two-thirds vote, he can bring any changes. But I would think that Tarique Rahman would focus completely on the economy, which is totally shattered.
Mm.
Which is a terrible condition. So I don't see, there's some discussions on the referendum result and on the July National Charter of 2025. So the main thing right now is that Yunus must hand over charge. He's only the chief advisor of an
But
interim regime.
you see that happening so peacefully, ma'am.
Well, of course, a lot will depend on Tarique Rahman, on the
It's all
future prime minister.
speculation. Nobody can say anything as of now. But
But the
given,
point is, he has no locus standi to stay on. Even if you say interim regime is not in the constitution, but subsequently, when this newly appointed judiciary, appointed by Jamaat-e-Islami, when they took charge, they actually worked on it and they reintroduced the caretaker government system into the constitution. So now, whatever it's worth, it's there in the constitution. But the role of a caretaker government is to conduct the elections. Once they conduct the election, their role is over. There is no role for them. There is a president already for the Bangladesh people. They have a president. Shahabuddin is the president. And now the elections have been held. There's no role for a caretaker chief.
true,
There
true,
is no role for an interim regime. The role of the interim regime is ipso facto over. Nobody can bring it back. So actually, without saying anything, he no longer has a job.
true.
I think that is the situation. And whether it will actually materialize like that situation or something else will happen is to be seen. But I would say that immediately now their biggest problem would be that how do they swear in these members of parliament? Because the parliament was dissolved, the earlier parliament, and even the speaker, she resigned. So there is no speaker. So now I think they'll have to think about it. Maybe the BNP can choose among them who will be the speaker. And then the speaker can be sworn in by the president of Bangladesh. And after that, the speaker can swear in the others, or whatever. They'll have to work out a methodology. But I don't see any role now for Mohammed Yunus. And I think for him to look for a role for himself will be very difficult. So I think all the congratulations are coming in. Our Prime Minister was the first foreign leader to congratulate Prime Minister Tarique Rahman. It's very, very good. And I think that there will be a good response from Prime Minister Tarique Rahman as well. Others are now sending in their messages. And getting down to the business of governance is very important. Now, what will Tarique Rahman do with all these subverted institutions that Jamaat-e-Islami has done? I told you about academia, I told you about the media, I told you about the judiciary, even the bureaucracy. So all, people have lost their jobs. If you take the Hindu, the minorities, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Christians, the Sufis and the Ahmadiyyas, so many of them, they were just surrounded and told to resign. Even Hindu primary teachers have lost their jobs. Professors have lost their jobs, lecturers have lost their jobs, policemen, police constables, police officers from the minority community, they've been told to resign. So what is going to happen to all these people?
Even the BNP, this alliance has Islamist representation, ma'am. I mean, so you see
Some parties, you
so you,
see,
I mean, how do you see the situation on the minorities evolving in the very near future? Because they have been under a lot of attack, lot of stress. So, and BNP also had a history of soft Islamist tendencies. So, I mean, yes, ma'am.
when the BNP Jamaat alliance was in government between 2001 and 2006, certainly when they won the election in 2001, they had a huge victory celebration, and that turned into total violence. And there was violence against the minorities for 3 months, unabashed violence. You didn't vote for us, we're going to kill you, that kind of thing. So it was terrible, and it stopped only after about 3 months. But this time, Tarique Rahman has already said that there should be no celebrations. So no hooliganism, no celebration, just very sober, getting down to work immediately. So I think the hint of that is that there should be no violence against anybody and everybody should be recognized as equal citizens. Now, there is a big a moot point about whether the word secularism, whether under Tarique Rahman, with that word secularism, which had been taken away earlier, under the, we had first President Zia Rahman, then President Irshad. Between them, they, brought in the Islamic Republic, and then they removed all the word secularism. And Sheikh Hasina had brought back the word secularism, but she had not removed the greeting in the beginning, the Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So all that, we will see what Tarique Rahman's position on all of this is going to be. And I would say that you should leave the constitution as it is, if there's some particular aspects that you want to give in. He has said in his manifesto that everybody is a Bangladeshi, everybody will follow the religion, etc. But taking away the word secularism does have a special connotation, and for the people of Bangladesh, that connotation will be there, because those who will see that the word is not there, then the violence would be there. So all these issues we certainly have to watch. But what Tarique Rahman has said about Bangladesh first, about saying that we are going to work for the interests of Bangladesh, and I think that for him, without getting into this business of the referendum or whether it should be there or the constitution should be changed, that is going to happen. That's with 2/3 majority, you can discuss anything you want. And certainly this can be an item for discussion in a way, but I think his first focus should be the economy, because that's the one that's in dire straits, And not only that, the interim regime under Mohammed Yunus for 18 months, they've signed all kinds of agreements. They signed an agreement to buy a large number of Boeing jets from America. Where will the money come from? So do you have to go to the IMF again to ask for money? They've been told that under the US-Bangladesh trade deal, that Bangladesh can get zero tariffs if they import goods made from, if they export goods made from American imports. So American imports of cotton or cotton yarn or man-made yarn. Now that is 40% more expensive than what the inputs are at the moment, 40 or 50%. And the transport costs are very high. So whether that will make the Bangladesh product competitive is a big question. Certainly it will impinge on India's exports to Bangladesh of cotton or cotton yarn or man-made yarn. But I think India has a big opportunity to make in India. All these, products like Tirupur and other places, Surat, etc., the ready-made garment industry should get a big boost. And even if exports to Bangladesh go down because they are importing from USA now, we should make in India and use the product ourselves for value addition and export.
The India question, ma'am. Prime Minister was the first leader to congratulate Tarique Rahman, but things have not been very pleasant for the past 2.5 years. And relations with BNP, when they were in power, were not very pleasant. I mean, you yourself had said on this show that you have seen a lot of insurgents activities being promoted and they were prospering under the Khalida Zia regime. But things should change now, because he's gotten a mandate. The world situation is such that India is the neighbor they have. The most beneficial neighbor, I would say. So you see the policies of Tarique Rahman towards India, or the continuance of the same old policies of anti-India rhetoric?
Well, I certainly hope that there should be a huge change in that. And I think, judging from the exchange of messages and so on, there will be a change. But basically, there are two aspects that I think we will be looking to see. You mentioned about the security aspect. That's very important. And certainly, you're right that when Begum Khalida Zia was the prime minister with the alliance with Jamaat-e-Islami, there was a huge factor of, supporting Indian insurgent groups and giving them camps and so on. But when Sheikh Hasina became Prime Minister in 2009, she said, I will respect India's security red lines. And because of that, she stopped all support. Anup Chetia was handed back. Paresh Barua disappeared into China. And, there was a complete cessation of these kind of activities. And for 15 years, Northeast India had peace and development. They even forgot about insurgent groups, 15 years. Now, in the last 18 months, we know that the negative approach of Mohammed Yunus and the Jamaat-e-Islami, they've revived all of that. And somebody was even saying that Paresh Barua is back in Bangladesh. I don't know, but this is what was being talked about on the social media. So now the question is, Prime Minister, Tarique Rahman will have to take a call on this. And I hope his call will be to respect the security red lines of India. That should be his call, because we know that in the last 18 months, we've had all these disasters. Asim Munir saying that the next attack will come from the east.
Against
Yunus, Muhammad Yunus going to China and talking about the Northeast, telling the Chinese businessmen, come to Dhaka, we have access to Northeast, nobody else does, etc. So we hope all that will completely stop, and that there will be no security aspects of Prime Minister, as Prime Minister, Tarique Rahman will respect India's security red lines, and none of these things will start again. That is a very important aspect. The second important aspect is the economic cooperation between Bangladesh and India. And this is, as I told you, it yielded very strong dividends for Bangladesh in the past. For 15 years, when Sheikh Hasina was Prime Minister, because of the mutually beneficial economic trade and investment cooperation, Bangladesh grew by 6 to 7%. They were graduating out of the least developed countries category. Everybody was proud of that. So now, in the last 18 months, the economy has really gone into a tailspin, and they are really at a very, very bad position now. As I said, factories closed, women unemployed, no private investment, no foreign investment, nothing. So how are they going to revive? So this is where, again, for Tarique Rahman as Prime Minister, he would certainly look at reviving, because the people of Bangladesh are expecting that. And if there's no revival of the economy, their dissatisfaction will be very strong. And I would say that many of the people may have thought that if Jamaat-e-Islami comes to power, they will not revive the relationship with India. Maybe BNP is a better chance. That also factor could be there in the vote.
One final question, ma'am. The relations between BNP and Awami League, they have been historically they've been vindictive towards each other. What does future hold for Awami League? Because you have seen Bangladesh like nobody else has. So what does the future hold, in your eyes, hold for Awami League and Sheikh Hasina?
I think that, first of all, the Awami League vote bank is intact. This was one of the biggest, I think, fear factors for the Jamaat-e-Islami. So everybody thought that, okay, Sheikh Hasina regime change operations happened. Many Awami League leaders left Bangladesh. Those who were in Bangladesh, they were not even organized properly. Sheikh Hasina used to give them messages and all that, but there was no real organization, so they could coordinate among themselves. That was not there. So despite all this, the fact of the matter is that the Awami League vote bank was intact. They did not disperse. They did not go and join other parties. They did not stop being Awami League activists. They continued that. And that is a very big factor, because you cannot ignore a vote bank which is 35 to 40%. You cannot pretend it doesn't exist. So I think that in the interest of democracy in Bangladesh, and the people of Bangladesh have certainly shown a great love for democracy, of getting back to a democratic future where there's normalcy, all the political parties take part, somebody wins, somebody loses, all that. And certainly they are very proud of the Liberation War of 1971. That's the second message, because BNP also has a strong connection with the Liberation War through their founding president Ziaur Rahman, who was a freedom fighter. So I think that they will certainly be in the best interest of the BNP and democracy in Bangladesh if the ban on the activities of Awami League is lifted. That ban should now be lifted. That is the first thing that needs to be done. Whether it will be done now or later, a few months later, I cannot say all that. But I think that should be an important first step for bringing back normalcy into the political life of Bangladesh. And this is what the people have shown their interest in. If they had not been interested in this, they would have, voted for Jamaat-e-Islami en masse. But it's their interest in a democratic lifestyle, in having being known as a democratic, moderate Islamic republic. This is what they want to be. Jamaat claimed to be that, but they were never. They were neither moderate nor were they democratic, and they were not Islamic. They were Islamist. So that's. So I think that that will be a very, very important factor to bring back the Awami League and have normal activity. They're not going to be in the government. All the people living abroad will come back. They will reorganize, restructure, whatever they want to do. And maybe the case against Sheikh Hasina, it was really a kangaroo court. And it was, there was no even opportunity for Sheikh Hasina to defend herself. And Sheikh Hasina and her son, Sajib Bahadur Joy, have repeatedly said that they want a full investigation into what happened. I'll give you one factor, for example, the UN Volcker report on what happened in July, August. That, for some mysterious reason, was taken from 2 weeks before, that means third week of July, up to 15th of August. Okay. After 5th August, there was no Sheikh Hasina. So why are you extending to 15th of August? So, and they're showing that 1,400 people died in that month-long period. But Sheikh Hasina left on the 5th of August, and it is known, according to the local media at that time, that by the time she left, maybe about 350 people had died. Of course, even 350 is a large number. I'm not minimizing that at all. But I'm saying that more than 1,000 people died in the next 10 days, including the minorities, including the Awami Leaguers. But this is being all attributed to Sheikh Hasina. So all these things, they need investigation, they need discussion. There shouldn't be ill will, and there should be goodwill. BNP has got a 2/3 majority. They will be there for 5 years, or if they want to have an election earlier, it's up to them. But the point is that there should not be political ill will. There should be a restoration of democratic rights for everybody, and then you can see what happens.
Before concluding, ma'am, I'll take this opportunity on behalf of both of us. I would say you have already congratulate Tarique Rahman and the BNP for this. This is a massive victory indeed. And
Yes.
I'm so thankful. I'm thankful to you because I know you have a busy day today for sparing time. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice talking to you. Thank you. I hope your listeners like the discussion. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Wish
Okay.
you all well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.